So we begin to look into some circuits which will be using the flip-flops in their operation. So the circuits that we look up in this particular lecture are the shift registers, and this is the shift register, which is basically, as you can understand, it is nothing but some series connection of flip-flops. So here we are using the D flip-flops, a series connection of the flip-flops where all the flip-flops are triggered by the same clock. That means these are activated, or the outputs of these change at the same instant. So these are like synchronous operation is happening. The synchronous operation is happening. So this is a synchronous circuit. Okay, this is a synchronous circuit. So how does the operation happen? Let us try to analyze. So initially all flip-flops are reset, suppose. So initially your QA, QB, QC is 0 0 0. So so in any problem, if you are asked to find out this is actually this thing what you are seeing here is called the timing diagram. So you will be asked to find out the timing diagram given a sort of circuit like this. So these are very standard circuits, shift registers and all, but you can be given any circuit with any interconnection of flip-flops, and then you have to draw the timing diagram. So in the timing diagram you must know what is the initial states. So here we have already said that the initial states are reset. So QA, QB, QC start from 0. So when the first clock, before the first clock edge trigger happens, so we are dealing with positive edge trigger. So before the first positive edge trigger, QA, QB, QC were 0. Okay. So with this condition we are starting. Now you see that at the first edge trigger, before that some data in, this is the data in line, nothing was there. So it was also 0. So there is no change at the first edge trigger in QA, QB, QC. You can say that, sir, here the data in has become 1, but here there is a caution now. So whenever you see that at the edge trigger the input is changing, data in basically input to one of the flip-flops. So if the input to a flip-flop is changing at the edge trigger, then you must always consider the level of the input before the edge trigger in order to predict the output. So remember this as a thumb rule. So whenever the input is changing at the edge trigger, so if it has changed already before the edge trigger, then of course you would consider the data in to be 1. But now it is changing at the edge trigger. So now the confusion is whether to treat it as 0 or 1. So you should always treat the input to be the level which is before the edge trigger. Why this is so? Because to change from 0 to 1, it does not happen instantaneously. There is always a slope like this. It takes some time to change, but the clock edge trigger is very fast. Okay, so that instantaneous, it is almost instantaneous. It is at least faster than this change in the data in channel. That is the convention that we adopt, or that is the assumption or conventional assumption that we make. So always we would treat the level before the edge trigger to decide what is happening at the output during the edge trigger. So with this in mind, we can analyze this circuit and draw up the timing diagram. As you can see, so we have given a single pulse in the data in during this first clock cycle. So at the first edge trigger there is nothing happening, so QA is also 0, QB is also 0, QC is also 0 during the first clock cycle. At the second clock cycle you see the data in was 1 before here, before this clock cycle. That means QA will change at this clock edge, QA will change to high, QA will change to 1 now. But QB, no, it will not change, because your QA at when this edge was triggering, QA was 0. QA was 0. So this will remain 0. QC will also remain 0. Now at the second clock cycle, or the third clock cycle, you see the data in has become 0. So QA will again become 0. But since QA was high, this clock trigger will trigger QB output to be high again, because QA is directly connected to your DB, right? So QB will become high, but QC will not become high because QB was low before this edge trigger. At the fourth edge trigger, QA is still low because there is nothing in data in. QB will become low because QA was low at this edge trigger. QB will become low. QB was high at the edge trigger, hence QC will become high. And then further again it will become low after this clock cycle. So I hope you understand where the changes are happening. The changes happen according to what the input was at the edge trigger. This is very important to understand. You will be facing this decision making all the while. You have to make this decision everywhere when you are dealing with timing diagrams. And this decision is very straightforward. You have to only consider the input before the edge trigger. Okay. So when we do this, what we see is basically the data in, whatever the data is, it is a single pulse here. That data will come to the output after passing through 3 clock cycles, you see. So the data comes at this clock cycle, data comes out at this clock cycle. So how many clock cycle? 3 edge triggers. So 3 clock cycles it takes to appear at the output. And this number of clock cycle is exactly same as the number of flip-flops between the input and the output. The number of flip-flops in the shift register decides the delay in the serial output when we are giving a serial input. So this is the pictorial description. This is how the pulse is basically transmitting itself from one flip-flop to another. Another configuration using the JK flip-flop is shown here, and the block diagram representation of shift registers is also shown, because always the shift register is a series connection like this and the clock is the same for all. Hence we can write or we can draw it like this. So this is a series connection, like this DA flip-flop, DB flip-flop, DC flip-flop are series connected and the same clock is triggering them. So only one clock input we can write here. The data in comes here and data out comes out from the last flip-flop. What are these arrows? These arrows are the initial setting of the DA, DB, DC. Initially you can feed with some value here. Normally they are reset, but you can feed with any binary word. QA, QB, QC are the states which are coming out from the individual flip-flops. So this is a block diagrammatic representation of the shift register. With the help of this block diagram representation, we are going ahead to understand what is a parallel in serial out shift flip-flop. Parallel in means that the data is fed in parallelly, means in all the flip-flops together. So the data word, whatever be the length of the data word, we must have those many number of shift registers, those many number of flip-flops in the shift register. That is one constant here. As long the data word, those many flip-flops must be in the shift register. Now consider that the loaded data is 110. Consider this for the example in order to understand the operation. So DA, DB, DC before the first clock cycle itself is 110. It is set like that. DA is 1, DB is 1, DC is 0. Now what happens at the first clock cycle? And this data is removed after the first clock cycle. But this clock cycle will now transmit this data throughout the shift register, and it will come out with the data out from the data out position. The data out position is basically nothing but QC. Please understand this. So DA, now you see DA is going to affect QA. So at the first stage clock cycle, this 1 will come at the output QA. DB is going to affect QB. So this one comes here in QB in the first clock cycle only, plus first clock edge trigger only. DC is 0, this 0 comes here at the first edge trigger. That means this doesn't change basically, but here it is. From the second clock cycle, now QB will get affected by what QA is. QA will get affected by what DA is, nothing else, right? So DA is 0, so this becomes 0 here, and this one will come to QB now at the second clock cycle, and this one will come to QC now, the output of QB connected to DC. So this comes to QC. At the next clock edge trigger, what happens? Your QB, this one will come to QC. Okay, so when you look at the data which is coming at the data out, which is a QC pin, you are seeing that first 0 is coming, then 1 is coming, then 1 is coming, but the data that you had fed was 110, and the data you receive is 011. So the data out is in exact reverse order. That is important to understand. The data out is in exact reverse order. Now the next shift register is the serial in parallel out. So here the data is coming in through the DA only, but it is coming out. We are reading all the QA, QB, QC, QD at once. So at one time we can only read a data of length 4 for this particular example. As many flip-flops, that much length of word we can read. Now you see, so we supply a word of 4 bits only, and we try to see when this entire word comes at the output. So the word is coming to the data in, let it be 1011. When it is 1011, so this one which is first coming at the input, so it comes at the edge trigger to QA. This one is coming here. I think the arrows, no, the arrows are not here. So this one is coming here. Then at the next edge trigger, this one is coming here, and the 0 has come to DA. So this 0 now comes to QA. At the third clock edge trigger, this QA 0 is coming to QB, the QB's 1 is coming to QC, and the DA was experiencing a 1 because this data was fed, so this one is coming here. And at the fourth clock cycle, again you see that this particular DA1, the new one has come here, this comes here, this one QS comes here to QB, this 0 of QB comes here to QC, this 1 of QC comes here to QD. And now if you read the entire QA, QB, QC, QD backwards, so in the order QD, QC, QB, QA, you are going to find the exact data that is fed in the shift register 1011. So you have to read backwards. The data appears in the reverse order after how many clock cycles? After n clock cycles, if n is the number of flip-flops and the number of and the n bit data is fed in the shift register. You can continue for other some more clock cycles when you will see that this data completely passes to the D. So this one, the last one, will also take another 4 cycles to pass to the final D output, QD output. This is shift register, serial in, parallel out. Now the concept of universal shift register. So you already understood that we can basically feed the data in serially or parallelly. We can read the data out serially or parallelly. So universal shift register is what? Where we can do any of this. We are not restricted to only serial feeding in and serial reading out, or parallel feeding in, parallel reading out. We are not restricted with anything. We can load a data serially and then feed a data. We can load a data parallelly and then feed a data serially, and then read it out in the data out, and read it out in the in parallelly also. So everything can be done. So what will happen here is basically the loaded data. So if we preload the shift register with some data, parallel loading, this DA/DB/DC will appear at the next instant at the output QA/QB/QC. Parallel in, parallel out. At the very next clock cycle it will appear. So if you have loaded something here, at the very next clock cycle this will appear at QA/QB/QC. The parallel in, parallel out shift register is very obvious one, and hence we don't study it separately. So QA/QB/QC it will appear. This data out will produce the data, this loaded data DC, DB, DA in the reverse order, right? So DA, DB, DC is what you have fed, but it will read as DC, DB, DA, and then it will, then anything you have fed in data in will start coming out from the data out, and that will be read in the correct order, okay, followed by the data in fed into the shift register. Each bit of data in will appear at the QA/QB/QC. Each bit of the data in will appear at QA/QB/QC after 1, 2 and 3 clock cycles respectively, and as many flip-flops, those many clock cycles afterwards it will come. So this is the understanding about shift registers and universal shift register. With the shift registers, if we connect back the output to the input, so this was the data in and this was the data out, correct? So the data out is connected back to the data in, and now you are preloading the shift register with something. What will then happen? So let us suppose the initial data is 100, data in is 100, okay. So this is a single pulse you can consider, actually others are 0. So what will happen, this DA will come to QA at the next clock cycle. What is the state of QB then? Since QA was 0, QB is 0. Since QB was 0, QC is 0. In the second clock cycle, after this comes, so in this clock cycle what will happen is that QA was 1, so QB will become 1, okay, and QC is still 0. This is coming here, yeah, QC is still 0, this is coming here, and then next clock cycle QA has become 0, so this 0 is coming here to QB. QB is 1, which was 1, is coming to QC now. Does things stop here as usual, as in other shift registers? No, because what is feeding QA? Try to understand this. This QA, here it is 0 and 0. Why this is 0 and 0? This is not basically because of the data in, actually. This is because of QC being 0. QC being 0. This QC is coming here. This QC is coming here. So this QC will again come here in the next clock cycle, and then the entire operation starts repeating itself. So when you are drawing timing diagrams, you have to be very careful that which is driving what is the input, and what is the input before the clock cycle, in order to construct the output after the clock cycle. And you should always construct the output one clock cycle after another. So each column like this you should form one by one column after another, one column after another, before you start getting confidence. So initially you should practice forming only one clock cycle of signals, form all the three, then look at the next clock cycle, form again all the three. In this way, if you keep on forming, you will never be wrong. And here what we see is basically the repetition of this 100 word which we had fed. It is kept circulating. It is kept circulating in the shift register. That is why it is called a ring counter. It is like a ring. It is coming back. And what we observe is that whatever word we have fed is taking 3 clock cycles to repeat itself. Is taking 3 clock cycles to repeat itself, no matter from where you are reading it. You can read it from QA, you can read it from QB, you can read it from QC. It takes 3 clock cycles to repeat itself, 3 being the number of flip-flops in the shift register. So if it is a n number of flip register or n stage ring counter, then the clock frequency is basically getting divided by 1 by n. So the signal repeats itself every 3 clock cycle. That means the frequency of this signal is 1/3 the clock cycle frequency. So if we had n number of flip-flops here, it will repeat itself after n number of clock cycles. So the clock cycle frequency will be getting divided by n that time. Now we look at the Johnson or the twisted ring counter. Here, instead of QC, we are connecting QC bar with DA. QC bar is connected, the last data, the complement of it is connected to the input of the first flip-flop. What is happening then? Take the same input. What happens is basically you see that after this clock cycle, this one is coming here. Now after this is removed, but this is still 1. Why? Because this QC is 0. QC being 0, QC bar is 1. So that 1 is coming here, that 1 is coming here. Now how this QB and QC is getting generated? Simply by this QA is coming here, then this is also coming here, this is coming here, this is coming here, this is coming here, this is coming here. So like that it is generated. And when does QA become 0 again? QC has become high in this clock cycle. So as soon as QC becomes high, at the next clock cycle QC bar is low here, so QA will become low at the next clock cycle. So QC becomes high at this clock cycle, QA becomes low at the next clock cycle, because the QC bar is 0 here. Before that QC bar was high, so that was getting translated here. And again you can continue looking into the analysis timing diagram like this, and you will see the QA will start repeating itself after 6 number of clock cycles. QA will start repeating itself after 6 number of clock cycles. So the clock frequency is basically getting divided by 1 by 2n, or getting divided by 2n, where n is the number of flip-flops in the twisted ring counter. So here number of flip-flops being 3, you can see the clock frequency is getting divided by 6. In each of these signals, QA, QB, QC, you can consider any of these. Each of these signals is giving you a signal which is of frequency which is 1/6 of the clock frequency, or in general it is 1/2n of the clock frequency. So we are able to divide the clock frequency by 2n times when we are using Johnson ring counter. With that, we come to the end of this particular lecture of about the shift registers. So thank you for your attention.